Good morning. Hope you're having a great start to your Sunday morning. So, Israel is 7 hours ahead of us, and Necha's spending the year there. So, after Shabbos, usually, when Shabbos is out at about 5 o'clock here, 5:30, she's already going to sleep. So, usually, she texts us after her Shabbat and tells us how her Shabbos was, and then when we're sleeping already, we'll get her up in the morning. She'll tell us what she's doing that day and the next morning. So, at 2 o'clock a.m., Necha messages us, and she says, she shows us that she's going south, all the way near the Gaza border. Not literally there, but pretty close. And she says that her and her entire seminary, where she's studying for the year, they're in Yerushalayim, is taking a bus, and they're traveling to a place called Talmei Bilu, where she will be helping and volunteering for the day at the farms there, because since the devastation of October 7th, and many of them had to evacuate the area, and many of them are reservists who were called up. They couldn't be there to take care of their crop, and there's so much agriculture in Israel, they need volunteering. So Necha and her friends drove there, and they spent the day, and they cut and stacked and packed 40,000 heads of lettuce. She showed us pictures, which I'll share on Facebook, which was remarkable. But she told me that while she was there, she said that this madricha, this person volunteering or helping at the farm, goes over to the head of her seminary. Necha's in a Chabad seminary, and says, I have a great uncle who lives in Crown Heights. And the lady at the seminary tells her, what's the name? And she says the name is Homener. Now, that's of course my dad. So Necha goes in and meets this girl, who's her second cousin. She's the granddaughter of my Aunt Pesia. And they take a picture and they acquaint each other. And it was just really remarkable, because we always say the small world of Jewish geography. And my father's whole family's in Israel, and he's one of 12, and they all have grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and we don't know everyone. And for Necha, it was really amazing to meet a girl close in age, her second cousin. And in general, the whole experience is so remarkable, the volunteering, the showing that we're all one people. Some of us are in the army, some of us are in Gaza, some of us up north, some of us are volunteering wherever we could, but each and every one of us has a responsibility and an obligation to be part of this miraculous effort that the Jewish people are making to protect each other and the land of Israel. And it reminds me, because this week's Torah portion is the portion of Vayetze. And it says, Vayetze Yaakov mi Be'er Shava vayelech Harana. Jacob left Beersheba, which is Israel, and he went to Haran, which is in Mesopotamia. And the rabbis tell us something interesting. We're called the Bnei Israel, the children of Israel. Israel was Jacob. Why aren't we called the children of Abraham? Why aren't we called the children of Isaac? Why are we called the children of Israel? And the rabbis say that the reason is because Jacob is considered the Bechir HaAvot, the choicest of all the patriarchs. Why? Because unlike Abraham and Isaac, Jacob travels to Mesopotamia, and when he's there, that's the place that he has the 12 tribes. He builds his family. And the future of the Jewish people is built in exile, is built under hardship. Laban is trying to cheat him. For 20 years, Jacob says, I hadn't slept. I hadn't been able to keep my guard down because my father-in-law wasn't honest with me and he was deceiving me. Yet, at that moment, and in that place, Jacob is building the Jewish nation. And that's why we're called Bnei Israel, the children of Israel. Because as Jews, at every moment, at the greatest hardships, at the greatest challenges, when it looks so dark, when we're in exile, when we're away from the reality that we want to be, that's when we become strongest, that's when we grow, that's when we build, and that's when we conquer. And it's important to know not to give up, because we have to be strong and understand that we are called Bnei Israel for a reason. And for me, it was so moving to see Necha leave her studies for a day and go travel south and help this farm with their agriculture, because we are all one people, and together, Yachad Nenatzach, as a slogan is going, we will only win if we're together, if we're united. Friday, I heard a remarkable story. I heard a story about this Mifaked, this commander, who's in Gaza, who gets a break and comes out and he calls his rabbi. And he tells his rabbi the most remarkable story, that they were sitting in their command center and they saw the most devastating thing. They were all white. they saw that 3 tanks of the soldiers in Gaza exploded. And they're thinking each one has 12 people. And that means 36 soldiers have been killed and they just can't move. And they're sitting there in the command center, and suddenly they get a call from one of the soldiers and say, what do you mean, what happened? And he says, let me tell you what happened. He says, we were on our tank, I think it's called the Rokem tank, and we were on our tank, and the rotator cuff broke. And we realized that if we stay in our tank, we're going to be sitting ducks. So we all jumped out and went out of our tank. The tank behind us saw the same thing, saw us leave the tank, and said, you know what, we better get out. If they're getting out, something's wrong. And the same thing happened in the 3rd tank. And the moment all 36 of us went out, at that moment the rockets fell and destroyed the 3 tanks. And he says to his mefaket, his commander, I feel like the unity of the Jewish people and the blessing of being together is what protected us. My friends, we're all one people. If you meet your second cousin on a farm volunteering to cut 40,000 heads of lettuce, or if you're in a tank in Gaza, or if you're up north, or if you're volunteering in a kitchen, or whatever we're doing, we're one people. And Yachad Ninatzeach, we learned from our father Jacob, that in the darkness, in exile, we build and we create Jewish nation, Jewish people, future generations that will continue to thrive and speak truth and good to evil and darkness. God bless you and have a great day.